Okay. I'm gonna start in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this is Half-Life Blue Shift. It's the most exciting game in the Half-Life trilogy, I assure you. The reason for that is because it has about 15 minutes of cutscenes in the run. And you'll see the first one very, very soon. Except they're not really like cutscenes. They're more like interactive walkarounds. Like you can still walk around, you can still interact with everything, but you know, you're just kind of waiting around for people to do their thing, for the NPCs to do their thing. So you can see that compared to the previous runs, I am still bunny hopping. I'm doing this like air strafe jumping movement. But you can also see that every time I gain a decent amount of speed, I start doing like these little mini hop things. And that's what's called duck rolling. Basically, whenever you tap the duck key in Half-Life, you get sort of like a mini jump, you get some air time, and if you string those together, you can actually, essentially you can bunny hop with them. So yeah, that's called duck rolling. Unfortunately, in the category that I'm running in scriptless, you can't gain as much speed as regular bunny hopping, because it's never perfect. You get lots of ground friction and complications like that. So unfortunately the movement is not as fast. And the reason why I have to do this movement, by the way, is because I'm running on the latest Steam version of the game. And the reason for that is because the original 1 version, which has the uncapped bunny hopping, unlike Half-Life and Opposing Force, this is one of the interactive wait-arounds, by the way. The reason for that is that the original WON version is pretty ancient. There was barely any patches released for it. In fact, I think there was only 1 patch released for it. And that means that it's capped to 72 FPS, and as people probably explained in the previous Half-Life runs, that's pretty bad. Like, this game is heavily affected by FPS, and bunny hopping is included in that, which means that you get really, really bad air excel in that game, and also timing bunny hops is a lot harder. But that's actually not the main reason why we don't run that version. The main reason is that I couldn't do that tram clip that I did in the beginning. The way that tram clip worked is basically I lowered my FPS to like 5, and I can crouch jump out of the tram. And yeah, I think the hat showcased that in the Opposing Force run, so yeah, FPS changing is a very useful tool in this game, as it is with the other Half-Life games. So yeah, now we're just, you know, waiting for the Black Mesa incident to happen. Barney's gonna jump out of the way of a train, but for some reason he's still laying down. And we can shoot the scientist because he's not useful to us anymore. By the way, the reason I lowered my FPS on the elevator is because basically if you have high FPS when you start the elevator ride, the scientist can randomly explode, because elevators are really glitchy in Gold Source games. I don't know why, that's just the way it is. But yeah, that's our first lengthy cutscene out of the way. Now we're actually going to see some action. And hey, now we get the iconic crowbar as well. So usually you would have to do a bunch in this room, but I'm just gonna skip this room by jumping on the chair so I can get over the gate. And then I'm going to do a nice little pre-strafe and circle jump onto this ladder above. I just need to get this lift down. Oh yeah, one other thing I should mention about the duck crawling is that because we're using the latest Steam version in this game, you actually get uncapped FPS, whereas in the original WON versions of the game, like in Half-Life 1 and Opposing Force, you can only go up to 100 FPS, and obviously, like I said earlier, in Blue Shift you can only go to 72. The good thing about this version is that we can use unlimited FPS, which gives us some benefits like less ground friction, more spamming of inputs, and higher air accel as well, which means that it's easier for me to do duck crawling. And I also get some more air accel as well. So that helps negate the downside to using this form of movement. Hopefully I get good luck here. Okay, nice. Sometimes if you jump off that ladder you can explode, or not explode, but you know, gib. You go splat on the floor. Luckily I didn't get it this time though. I actually don't know what that's determined by. And now we can do some sharking, which is basically where you just run on water because, you know, Calhoun is Jesus. But yeah, basically if you hold your jump key when you're on water, you can just go really fast. And now there's going to be loads of alien slaves teleporting everywhere, but we're too fast for them, so we're just going to say see ya. And we're going to jump on this box and just, you know, taunt that alien by jumping on his head into the vents. If I move to the side of these vents here, I can basically lure the head crabs to the side so I can just walk past them. So the reason I just shot those boards is for something that I will do later, and I'll explain it later as well, because I don't want to spoil it. So what I'm doing here is saving and loading when that soldier dies, and because he has juicy assault rifle grenades, or SMG grenades, I can just dupe his ammo by saving and loading, and that's useful throughout a few parts of this run. So yeah, I basically have unlimited grenades for the rest of the run, because I can just dupe. So the reason I shot an assault rifle grenade in between those two spool things is because if you place explosives in a tight space in Gold Source, the radius is actually multiplied. So by shooting an assault rifle grenade there, I basically just removed all of the wooden beams in one shot. Now we just gotta murder some soldiers. And once again I'm gonna do some duping here. And now we're coming up to our next interactive wait around. So while we're waiting for this train to approach, we're just going to pick up some useful items like some health, some grenades, some armor.
Yes, I'm Dr. Rosenberg.
So usually in this interactive wait around, you would be inside this container. Because usually you just walk through the door of the container in here, and then the soldiers lock you out. And the soldiers are actually supposed to be here, but you know, if you're inside, then why do we need to spawn soldiers, right? But instead, I can just stand like on the side of this train and activate his speech. So now I can just stand outside and collect items. And now I have an audio cue, so I need to shut up for a minute.
Of course, none of that does a whole lot of good while we're stuck in here. Perhaps I could help boost you through that vent in the ceiling. If you're lucky, you might be able to take those soldiers by surprise. Let's try this.
Okay, so now the soldiers have spawned right when my grenade has been planted and is ready to detonate. So now we meet Dr. Rosenberg, who's probably one of the most annoying AIs in the Half-Life series. You might find out why, you might not, depends on how lucky I am. Okay, he's being good to me at the moment. But basically, he's an old man, so he gets tired really easily, so sometimes he'll just tell you to stop for a break. And then later he'll contradict himself by saying there's no time to waste, which is kind of funny, but yeah, he's pretty annoying. He can also randomly get stuck in places, like this door for example. And we're also pretty abusive of him because we like to throw grenades at him and shoot him. Later on I'll throw a grenade at him, but when I was at the bottom of the stairs just now, basically if he doesn't behave, if he doesn't like just go up the stairs like he's supposed to, sometimes he'll like go back to the like hallway that you're in. So if you shoot him, he decides, okay, I'm actually going to come back and just follow you up the stairs. And there's his break. He wants you to slow down, but we can't slow down because we got to go fast, so... But yeah, by shooting him, you basically say, nope, you're not going anywhere, come with us.
I'll wait, let's get going.
Sometimes he likes to just stand in that elevator as well, even though you tell him to come with you.
I hope the old security system is unlocking. My fingerprint ID is still valid and on file.
And now we're coming up to yet another interactive wait around.
Dr. Rosenberg, thank God you made it. We've managed to piece together some of the larger equipment.
This is one of the longer wait arounds. We have to wait for them to talk shit, and then we have to wait for Rosenberg to charge up the portal, or the teleporter. The reason I'm lowering my FPS to 15 here is because when you lower your FPS, NPCs turn faster, which, you know, therefore makes their sequences faster, their dialogues faster. So, whilst Rosenberg is talking shit, I'm just gonna mess around.
Promising research on the matter led to a device that could be attached to the same crystalline structures we found on this border world. Now, this device was introduced as a focal point and a relay to aid in the teleportation. Well, in theory, that is. We lost contact with the survey group shortly after the device was in place. We later discovered other methods of aiming the...
You can also get stuck in this thing, and when it goes upward you can twirl around on this spinny thing. But that's risky, it can actually kill you, and you can also soft luck by getting stuck in there, so I'm not going to risk it. However, I can jump between these pipes.
likelihood of running into alien creatures.
This is Simmons.
Once you find the device,
He's the third of the three scientists, the scientist trio in Blue Shift.
the teleporter for your return once we receive the signal, but you must hurry back.
But yeah, this game is basically just babysit the scientists. You're a security guard.
All right, I'm going to initiate.
You're the one with weapons. You just have to escort these guys.
Once the field is open, it will become unstable very quickly.
So now Rosenberg and Simmons are going to start charging up the teleporter because it's old technology. It needs charging up. And also apparently we have teleportation in like the 60s because look at these computers. So, we're about to be teleported to Zen, the alien border world, which you will have seen mostly in Half-Life 1, but also a little bit in Opposing Force.
The primary capacitors have reached full charge. Simmons,
There's a whole chapter dedicated to Zen in this game, so it's actually one of the more fun sections as well, because you have low gravity, so you can do low gravity bunny hopping. And there's stuff to shoot at. And you know, it's just generally not a cutscene. So we're going to crawl through these little alien vents here. Hopefully I don't soft lock by getting stuck on them. But you can actually, if you lower your FPS, you can surf on them a little bit. And yeah, just as traditional Half-Life works, headcrabs like to lure in vents. If you time it right, you can actually like bunny hop through this vent with the speed that you gain from doing that little circle jump, but unfortunately I messed it up. So now we're going to do some pretty cool damage boosts. So we're going to get out one of our grenades here and cook it. And we're going to damage boost. And then we're going to bring out our SMG. I'm going to do another damage boost just around the corner here. Oh, I hit the bunny hop cap. Yeah, so I don't actually think I explained the bunny hop cap concept, but the reason we have to do the duck rolling is because in the latest Steam version, when you hit 544 units and then jump, units per second rather, you get stopped basically. You just come to a... your speed basically gets reset to the normal walking speed. Also, I need to cook a grenade here. So yeah, that's the reason we preserve our speed by using the duck rolling. Now we're just going to do some cool platforming. For some reason, if you land on the generator, you don't take any fall damage, which is really weird. But thankfully that's actually where we need to be, because that's what we need to turn on this piece of machinery here. And if I flick my mouse quick enough, I can actually turn these both at the same time. But yeah, we need to turn these so that this crystal machine thing gets turned on. And that slave just got owned by some rocks. The reason I'm lowering my FPS here is because it's very easy to get stuck in things at high FPS. And those rocks are one of the biggest culprits, at least for me. So That's why I'm lowering my FPS there. And yeah, as you can see, I just got stuck in a bunch of stuff because I like ran into the wall with high FPS. Okay, I'm gonna try something here. It's kind of risky, but I think I found a consistent setup for it. But this is the part where we throw a grenade at Mr. Rosenberg. And he just takes it like a champ.
The power reserves were just enough to open the field for your trip to the border world. If we plan on keeping the teleporter open long enough to calculate a safe exit point and allow time for everyone to go through, someone will have to go to the lower level and retrieve another power cell.
Nice, we got it. So yeah, if you throw a grenade at him there whilst he comes to a break in his speech, he actually runs closer to this button. And yeah, that makes it faster because once he's finished with this part of the dialogue, he's just gonna run to the button from there instead of like all the way around there.
I'll show you to the access elevator that leads to the power generator. Follow me.
So this is gonna be the last. This is going to be the last interesting chapter, I guess. Although it's over pretty quickly. It's power struggle. Basically, we have to go downstairs to the basement, get a battery for the teleporter, because, you know, teleporters require batteries. And we have to send it up to them, so that they can charge the teleporter again for our escape. So now we're going to wait for the military to blowtorch this door open, and then we're going to give them a little surprise at the end of it. Yep, lots of juicy explosives. So now we're just going to say fuck you to all these guys, skip past them, do a little boost up here to skip basically the entire chapter. And there's an invisible Barney here. He shouldn't be invisible. I'm not sure why he's invisible. Usually if you play it the intended way, he's not invisible. But basically he's just like laying there, he's like, undying man. And if we shoot him, he dies quicker, so... And we need to go quick, right? So... He's out of our way. Now we're just bringing the battery to the little elevator thing to send it up to the scientists. And back up we go. So we're coming up to the last chapter now, A Leap of Faith. This is almost entirely an interactive walk around. We're basically just opening the teleporter for the scientists so they can go through, and then, you know, because we're less valuable, because we're a security guard, we get to go last. And conveniently enough, that's when the military arrive, so yeah. Fortunately we have good speed strats to deal with them though, so... I'm not... Okay, I was gonna say, I'm not sure why he's not talking, but he started talking now, so...
I need you to climb up to the control room and activate the main power. Once the
Already on it, buddy.
You also need to release the damping locks each time the system has charged in order to open the displacement field. Don't worry, Mr. Calhoun.
So yeah, now we have to press this lever, which is clearly indicated by main power, as he just told us.
Very good. Stand by.
And hey, there's a clearly marked button here as well. Science is simple, right?
Resonance coils to achieve focus.
So I already know that the machine's gonna fail from this pressure thing here, so I'm just gonna line myself up here and get ready to turn the valve.
Oh no. The primary coil line has been ruptured. Calhoun, go to the door. Now keep turning the crank until the pressure level is normal.
And now, Usually it'd be unfortunate these Hound Eyes would spawn, but actually no, I want to get my armor down to a certain amount so I can do a damage boost later. The reason I want to get my armor down to a certain amount is because basically the more armor you have in this game, the less health you lose, and the more health you lose, the higher your damage boost is, so, or the bigger your damage boost is. So we basically want to make sure we take enough health, or we damage ourselves enough, that we can actually get a decent damage boost. So yeah, I want those Hound Eyes to hurt me, basically. So yeah, I've already escorted one scientist to the escape, we're going to do another, then we're going to do Rosenberg, and then we're going to do it ourselves. Because, you know, who needs a boss fight? Especially when the other Half-Life games had a boss fight.
Almost there. Charge again. Over the field now. You must go now, Simmons.
Who needs giant monster babies and tentacle creatures when you've got scientists running into portals and pressing buttons, right?
Once I make it through, just wait for the levels to reach full again and open the field like you've been doing.
And yeah, you might be able to hear that the military are outside right now. So now Rosenberg's going to go through, and if we save load as he runs here,
Good luck, Mr. Calhoun. I'll see you on the other.
we can actually make sure that he goes straight to the teleporter, whereas usually he would run all the way around. I don't know why he runs all the way around. That seems so silly. I mean, why would you not just run towards the portal, right? But for some reason he does that. But yeah, we can break it by save loading. So yeah, we placed a little surprise satchel for the soldiers. So I'm going to blow them up with this, and then I'm going to shoot a couple of grenades at them, just to make sure they're all dead. And then we're going to do one last damage boost. Press the button through the wall, because that's a thing in Gold Source. Pressing buttons through walls. And then I'm going to save load here, which takes me out of this freeze trigger. And basically there's a trigger around here somewhere, where it would normally teleport you to Zen for a while, and then it would show you a cutscene from Half-Life. But if I walk out of the trigger, like the freeze trigger, and then I save load, and then I walk into this trigger here, it basically just skips the whole thing. And also I can, if I can do it, I can jump on this scientist and just run out on our own. And it turns out we're living on a floating island because, yeah, dead end. And get ready for time. And time. So yeah, that was Half-Life Blue Shift. Hope you enjoyed.